I am sitting in my new three-bedroom house right now, and it should feel like the biggest victory of my life. 8 years of working two jobs, eating ramen noodles for dinner, and saving every penny I could just to get here. The hardwood floors gleam under the afternoon sunlight streaming through windows I picked out myself. But instead of celebration, there is this hollow ache in my chest, because the people who should be happiest for me are the ones calling me selfish and heartless. My parents have not spoken to me in weeks, and my sister Sarah acts like I committed some unforgivable sin, all because I refused to hand over the keys to someone who chose my cheating ex-girlfriend over her own brother when I needed her most. Before I dive into this painful journey, let me know where you are watching from in the comments below. Hit that like button if you have ever had to make a difficult choice because of family drama, and do not forget to subscribe for more real-life stories. This is about what happens when you finally choose yourself over everyone else's expectations, even when it means standing completely alone. Let me take you back to where this all started, because understanding my relationship with my family is crucial to why this hurts so much. My name is Abram. I am 28 years old, and I work as a software developer here in Austin, Texas. I moved here 8 years ago, right after college, determined to build something better for myself and my family back home in Oklahoma. My sister Sarah is 3 years younger than me, currently finishing her senior year at university. Growing up, she was always the golden child, the one who could do no wrong in my parents' eyes. Do not get me wrong. I love her to pieces, but Sarah has always been used to getting what she wants without much effort. While I was working part-time jobs in high school and college, Sarah got to focus purely on her studies because our parents did not want to burden her with work. When I landed my first real job in Austin, I immediately started sending money home every month. $500 without fail, sometimes more, when Sarah needed something for school or when my parents had unexpected expenses. I never complained about it because taking care of family felt like the right thing to do. Every video call home was filled with updates about Sarah's latest achievements, her social life, her plans for the future. That brings me to Jessica. We met at a coffee shop downtown 3 years ago, and I fell hard for her infectious laugh and the way she seemed genuinely interested in my dreams. Jessica had this way of making me feel like I was the most important person in the room when she looked at me. We spent countless hours talking about our future together, about the house we would buy, the trips we would take, the life we would build. What made everything even better was how quickly Jessica and Sarah became best friends. During Jessica's first visit to Oklahoma to meet my family, she and Sarah clicked immediately. They would text each other daily, share inside jokes, and Sarah would always ask about Jessica first whenever we talked. It felt perfect, like all the pieces of my life were falling into place exactly how they should. But achieving that perfect life required sacrifice. I started freelancing on evenings and weekends, building websites and mobile apps for small businesses. While my coworkers went out for happy hour, I was home coding until midnight. While Jessica went to brunch with her friends on Sundays, I was debugging someone else's software for extra cash. My routine became mechanical but purposeful. Wake up at 6, work my full-time job until 5, grab dinner from whatever fast food place had the cheapest deals, then freelance until I literally could not keep my eyes open anymore. Weekends meant more freelancing, more networking, more hustling toward that goal of homeownership. The dream house I found was perfect. A beautiful 3-bedroom, 2-bathroom place in a quiet neighborhood with good schools for future kids. The master bedroom was spacious enough for Jessica, and me, the second bedroom, would be perfect for my parents when they visited, and the third bedroom would be Sarah's whenever she wanted to come stay with us after graduation. I remember the day I put down the deposit, my hands shaking as I signed the paperwork. Jessica was so excited already, talking about paint colors and furniture arrangements. Sarah squealed with joy over FaceTime when I showed her the virtual tour, claiming the smallest bedroom as her own, and making plans to decorate it with fairy lights and plants. For the first time in years, everything felt like it was coming together exactly as planned. The day my world fell apart, started like any other Tuesday. I had been putting in extra hours at work trying to finish a major project before the deadline, so I decided to leave the office early and surprise Jessica with her favorite takeout from the Thai place she loved. I used my key to let myself into her apartment, calling out her name as I walked toward the kitchen with the food. But the sound that answered me was not Jessica's voice. It was a man's laugh coming from her bedroom, followed by sounds that made my stomach drop to the floor. I stood frozen in her hallway for what felt like hours, but was probably only seconds, the plastic bag of food slipping from my numb fingers and hitting the hardwood with a soft thud. Part of me wanted to turn around and leave, to pretend I had never come home early, to give myself more time to process what was happening. But I could not move. When I finally pushed open her bedroom door, Jessica was with David, a guy from her marketing firm she had mentioned in passing a few times. They scrambled to cover themselves, Jessica's face going completely white when she saw me standing there. The confrontation that followed was a blur of tears, apologies, and desperate explanations. Jessica kept saying it was a mistake, that it did not mean anything, that she loved me and wanted to work things out. David grabbed his clothes and left without saying a word, which somehow made the whole thing feel even more surreal. I wanted to be angry, to yell and scream and demand answers. Instead, I just felt hollow. 3 years of planning our future together, 3 years of working myself to exhaustion to build something beautiful for us, and this is how it ended. Despite everything, I still loved Jessica. The rational part of my brain knew I should walk away, but my heart was not ready to give up on everything we had built together. I told her we could try counseling, that we could work through this if she was willing to be completely honest with me about why it happened. That is when I made what turned out to be a catastrophic mistake. I called Sarah. My sister had always been my closest confidant, the person I turned to when I needed perspective or just someone to listen. Jessica and Sarah were so close that I figured Sarah would help me understand what might have driven Jessica to cheat, maybe even help us work through it together. Sarah's reaction was nothing like what I expected. Instead of comfort or support, Sarah's first words were, "Well, what did you expect, Abram? You are never around. You work all the time and barely pay attention to her anymore." I was so shocked I actually thought I had misheard her. Sarah, she cheated on me. With someone from her office. How is that my fault? But Sarah doubled down. I am not saying cheating was right, but Jessica has been telling me for months how lonely she feels. You promised her this amazing life together, but all you do is work. When was the last time you took her on a real date? When was the last time you just spent time with her without your laptop out? Every word felt like a physical blow. Here, I was devastated and looking for support from my sister, and instead, she was lecturing me about being a bad boyfriend. I tried to explain that everything I was doing, all the extra work and sacrifice, was for Jessica and our future together. Sarah was not having it. You use providing for the future as an excuse to avoid being present now. Jessica needed a boyfriend, not a financial planner. The conversation ended with Sarah telling me I needed to take a hard look at my own behavior before blaming Jessica for seeking connection elsewhere. I hung up feeling more alone than I had ever felt in my life. But Sarah was not done. Over the next few days, she invited Jessica to come visit our parents in Oklahoma, framing it as Jessica needing support during a difficult time. Not support as the person who had cheated, but support as the victim of my neglect and poor treatment. When I called my parents to explain what had actually happened, I discovered Sarah had already given them her version of events. According to Sarah, Jessica was a sweet girl who had made a mistake because I was emotionally unavailable and obsessed with work. My mother's words still ring in my ears. Honey, relationships take work from both people. Maybe this is a sign that you need to examine how you have been treating Jessica. I felt like I was losing my mind. The people who were supposed to love and support me unconditionally were taking the side of someone who had betrayed me in the most intimate way possible. 2 weeks after I caught Jessica cheating, she made her relationship with David official on social media. Sarah was one of the first people to like the announcement post and leave a comment with heart emojis. My own sister was publicly supporting my ex-girlfriend's new relationship with the man she had cheated on me with. That was the moment I realized I was completely on my own. The house closing was scheduled for a Thursday morning in March. I had imagined this day so many times over the past 2 years, picturing Jessica by my side as we signed the papers, maybe my parents driving down from Oklahoma to celebrate with us, Sarah squealing with excitement as I handed her a copy of The Keys. Instead, I sat alone at a conference table with my real estate agent and the seller's representative signing document after document in complete silence. When the agent handed me the keys and said congratulations, I managed a smile and thanked everyone for their help. But walking out to my car keys heavy in my palm, I had never felt more isolated in my entire life. The house was beautiful and empty and mine. I walked through each room slowly, my footsteps echoing off the bare walls. The master bedroom, where Jessica and I would never sleep together. The guest room my parents would never visit. The third bedroom that would never be Sarah's sanctuary during college breaks. I was standing in the kitchen staring out at the backyard I had planned to turn into a garden when my phone rang. Sarah's name appeared on the screen, and for a moment, my heart jumped with hope. Maybe she was calling to apologize, to congratulate me, to try to repair what had been broken between us. "So when can I get my key?" were her first words. I actually laughed, a short, bitter sound that surprised even me. "What key?" "My key to the house, Abram. I need to start planning when I can move in after graduation. My lease is up in May, so I was thinking I could come stay with you for the summer while I look for a job." The audacity was breathtaking. After everything that had happened, after choosing Jessica over me, after publicly supporting my ex-girlfriend's new relationship, Sarah still expected to move into my house rent-free, like nothing had changed. "Sarah, you are not getting a key. You are not moving in here." The silence on the other end of the line stretched for so long, I thought she had hung up. When she finally spoke, her voice was shaking with rage. "Are you seriously going to punish me because your relationship did not work out? I had nothing to do with what happened between you and Jessica. You are being petty and vindictive. And honestly, maybe Jessica was right about you after all." That last sentence hit me like a physical slap. Even now, even after I had made it clear how much her betrayal had hurt me, Sarah was still taking Jessica's side. Before I could respond, she hung up on me. My parents called within the hour. "Abram, Joseph, what is this nonsense about not letting Sarah stay with you?" My mother's voice had that tone I remembered from childhood, the one that meant I was in serious trouble. I tried to explain calmly why Sarah's behavior had been hurtful, why I needed space from family members who had chosen to support someone who had betrayed me. I talked about boundaries and respect, and the importance of family loyalty during difficult times. My father cut me off. "Son, what happened between you and Jessica is between you and Jessica. You do not punish your sister for it. Family comes first always. That is how we raised you." "Where was that family loyalty when Sarah decided to side with Jessica?" I asked. "Your sister was trying to be a good friend to both of you during a difficult situation. She was not taking sides." The gaslighting was incredible. Sarah had literally invited my cheating ex-girlfriend to stay with our parents, had publicly celebrated. Jessica's new relationship had spent weeks telling our extended family that I was the real problem in the relationship. But according to my parents, she had not taken sides. I realized in that moment that my family had created a narrative where I was the villain of this story, and nothing I said was going to change their minds. Over the following weeks, Sarah launched a full-scale campaign to turn our entire extended family against me. She called our aunts and uncles, our cousins, even our grandparents, telling them I had become selfish and cold, that success had changed me into someone who cared more about money than family. My phone was constantly ringing with relatives, lecturing me about family responsibility, about forgiveness, about not letting pride destroy relationships. Everyone had an opinion about what I should do, but no one wanted to hear about what had been done to me. The final straw came when I discovered that Sarah had given Jessica my new address. I was coming home from work one evening when I noticed a familiar car parked across the street from my house. Jessica and David were sitting inside taking pictures of my front door and yard with their phones. When they saw me pull into my driveway, they drove away quickly, but the message was clear. Sarah had violated my privacy and safety by sharing my personal information with someone who had betrayed me, someone I had explicitly asked my family not to discuss my life with. When I confronted Sarah about it, she was completely unapologetic. Jessica wanted to see the house you bought. She said she was happy for you and wanted to see how it turned out. I thought it would help with closure. You thought wrong. You had no right to give out my address without asking. Oh, please, Abram. Stop being so dramatic. It is just a house address, not state secrets. But it was not just about the address. It was about Sarah consistently prioritizing Jessica's feelings and desires over mine, even months after the cheating had destroyed my relationship and my trust. 2 weeks later, I got a call from my mother asking if I was planning to come home for Easter dinner. Of course Jessica will be there, she added casually. Sarah invited her and your father, and I think it would be good for everyone to spend time together and move past all this negativity. That was it. That was the moment I knew my family would never understand what they had put me through. I told my mother I would not be coming to Easter dinner if Jessica was going to be there, and that I would not be attending any family gathering where my ex-girlfriend was welcome, but I was made to feel like the problem.